Well, Boquete has been around for 104 years. So there are a couple of areas that most people hear about. The Alto Boquete area, which is like the flatter area that you encounter when you're driving in, or Bajo Boquete, which is the downtown area where a lot of the businesses are located. Okay, so Bajo Boquete is more in the valley, so you're kind of coming down when you exit Alto Boquete into Bajo Boquete. And what you encounter is, a lot more rain in certain areas in Boquete. So you have to be careful where you live. There are 30 different microclimates here. So the weather is kind of different in different areas. More windy, more rain, less rain. And also temperatures vary. So if you're up in the mountains, say in Jaramillo area, or in Volcancito, parts of Volcancito, it's going to be cooler. The people of Panama are pretty welcoming and accepting of people from other cultures. So I think that's one of the major reasons that people move here. The other reason is, of course, the Boquete climate, which is between 16 and 26 degrees centigrade and about 60 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit all year round. So that's the other thing, and people are proud of their heritage here and celebrate a lot of different times of the year. So the expats coming in kind of tune into that and are pretty much involved in all kinds of activities here. So culture is really a draw for a lot of the expats. Also, it's some of the different visa options that people have. One of them is pensionado visa, where you can get all kinds of discounts on just about everything. So these are the retirees, or jubilados as they're called. There's another one that we are on. It's the Friendly Nations visa, and you can get that if you're not a retiree and you want to open a business or do something while you're here as far as business or working for somebody else. You can get that visa. So there are multiple different options. Okay, so it's fairly easy to get around in the Boquete area and the larger area, around Boquete. Public transportation, let's talk about that for a minute. We have buses that run back and forth between David and Boquete. You pay about $1.75, $2 each way, and they run pretty frequently, every half hour or so during the day. In the evenings, they kind of slow down a little bit. But we have taxis, a couple of dollars to get around most of Boquete. We have some of these vans that you would probably pay between 50 and 70 cents to get around town as well, and they go in remote areas of Boquete all day long. Of course, if you don't want to take any public transportation, you can walk around. Most of Bajo Boquete is easily accessible. Number of people like living downtown. The ones who don't want to own a car would prefer to live downtown, and it's a good option for people because they walk around and are able to get their groceries and their other things, bills and other things paid just by walking around downtown. Talking a little bit more about the climate here, the temperature, as I mentioned earlier, varies between 60 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. But really, there's the green season where it rains more, and the dry season. So green season typically starts early May and ends late October officially, but it can rain some more in November as well. And during the rainy season, it doesn't rain all day typically. In the morning, it might be sunny in the morning until about 10, 11, maybe even 12 o'clock, and then it will get overcast, and then it might rain for a few hours and would clear up by 5 o'clock in the evening. So really, it doesn't get in the way for most of us who are living here. There are some rainstorms at times, but we are in the tropics, so one would expect that. But really, it's not really that intense, and it doesn't last forever either. Now, in the dry season, we do get a little bit of rain, but the winds kind of, we have more intensity as far as winds are concerned, typically in January and February. Otherwise, those are some of the concerns around weather and wind. Like I mentioned earlier, that we have certain areas that do get a little bit more rain and wind. So if you are looking to buy or rent, you have to keep that in mind when you are finalizing your move to Boquete. So there are always challenges when you're thinking of moving overseas or into a new culture and new ways of doing things. Panama has its own challenges, and some of the things that we have experienced and some of our friends have experienced um, tend to be in the categories of the whole mañana thing, and you'll hear a lot about mañana. Mañana essentially means not today. So if somebody says they're going to do something tomorrow, they're probably not going to do something tomorrow. And so we have to chase people down when we need something fixed. So that can be a challenge. It's very frustrating. Appointments, say 10 o'clock in the morning appointment doesn't necessarily mean 10 o'clock, or it doesn't even mean that day. It could be any day, any time of day. So that's one of the things that we have to get used to here. And the other stuff is, the other challenge is when you need something maintained and fixed, it's not going to be maintained and fixed to your standards, and there are not going to be that many people available who can do certain types of work. So building a network is important. Building a list of people who you can call upon to get things fixed is some of the ways we have countered those issues. What other challenges are there? Oh, just challenges around electricity. Sometimes, the power goes off. We have a generator, but most people don't, and sometimes the power goes out for like a few minutes. Other times it might be gone for like 4 or 5 hours. So that's another consideration. Now, as far as internet speed, now if somebody works on the computer and that's what they need to do as far as work, then they need to be closer into Boquete, the downtown area, because that's the best service you're going to get. The higher up in the mountains, the worse it gets, and it's a lot more expensive as well. Let's see what other challenges. Just getting here and out of here can be a challenge because we don't have an international airport yet. David Airport is supposed to be international, but it hasn't been functioning as such. So people have to either fly into Panama City or into San Jose, Costa Rica, and then fly into David. So it can be a bit of a challenge getting here. Although we have more and more flights coming in with Copa and Air Panama, so it's become a lot easier, but it's still a bit of a challenge. Since we own a bed and breakfast, we get a lot of people coming through our bed and breakfast, and a number of them are looking to relocate to Boquete or Panama in general. And my advice to them, since we've been here for a little while, is to rent first. See if you are actually going to like this area, you're going to be okay with the changes that you're going through when you move to Panama, and then figure out whether or not there's the kind of property that you would really like to be living in and the area that you want to live in. So my advice would be to rent, and there are a lot of rental options here. They're not as cheap as you may have seen on the internet or heard elsewhere, but there are some good deals to be had, and there are a number of locals who will rent directly to people. So that would be another option. There are plenty of blogging sites and websites that one can join to get all kinds of information. Now, if you're looking to buy, and there are always people who want to buy instead of renting first, there are a number of real estate agents available, but one has to be very careful to go and work with somebody who is properly licensed to operate their business in Boquete or in Panama. So, in summary, I would say that if you're thinking of moving to Panama and Boquete in particular, always look for what is your reasoning behind that. If you are running away from something, then I don't think that's the place for you. This is a place, if this is where you want to recreate yourself and change the pace of life that you might have had elsewhere, and to be patient, because things happen a lot slower here than they do in most other developed countries. So it's important to remember those things, and always come and visit at least 2 or 3 times before you make that major move, because you will learn some things about yourself and about Panama, and that will inform you whether or not this is going to be a place for you in the long term.